Courage is not found in never being afraid. It's found in choosing to move forward despite the fear, because you know something greater depends on your strength. A meaningful life is not one free of difficulty, but one shaped by the lessons learned in struggle and the hope kept alive through every setback. No matter how long the road may be, every step forward counts. Even the smallest act of progress builds a future worth fighting for. A man's character is not measured by how he acts in comfort, but by how he stands when all things seem against him. Freedom is not given, it is earned through sacrifice, persistence, and the refusal to be broken by those who fear your spirit. We are made, not only by what we achieve, but by what we endure, without losing our humanity, compassion, and belief in a better world. There is no greater joy than knowing your actions, however small, contributed to someone else's dignity, freedom, or chance at a better life. If you want to change the world, begin by changing your mindset. A free mind cannot be chained by any external force. We become strong not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it into wisdom, kindness, and a deeper appreciation for the journey of others. The true test of life is not whether we fall, but whether we rise again, with more courage, more wisdom, and more kindness. Your legacy is built in the quiet choices you make every day, when no one's watching, when no praise is promised, and when doubt is loud. You don't need to be powerful to make a difference. You need to be committed, consistent, and willing to keep going when it gets hardest. Our value is not in how high we rise, but in how deeply we care, how often we serve, and how bravely we stand for truth. It is not the conditions we are born into that define us, but the decisions we make when faced with the hardest truths about life. To live a full life is to live, not just for yourself, but in service of something greater than your own comfort. Respect for others begins with respect for yourself. You cannot uplift a community if you secretly carry resentment, shame, or hatred within. Leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being honest, learning from failure, and never giving up on what is just. You will never truly know your strength until your spirit is tested and your only choice is to rise or surrender. Choose to rise. Change doesn't happen overnight. It is the product of consistent hope, clear vision, and the courage to keep going, even when no one believes but you. True freedom starts in the heart. When you let go of bitterness, you make space for peace, and from peace, real power begins. No relationship can survive without mutual respect. Love may begin with emotion, but it is kept alive by how we treat each other in difficult times. You do not need to agree with someone to treat them with dignity. Real strength is shown through your ability to stay kind, even in disagreement. Forgiveness in relationships is not forgetting the pain, but choosing to love in spite of it, because peace matters more than pride. True friendship is proven, not in celebration but in crisis, when someone stands by you, not because they benefit, but because they care. The power of a relationship lies not in how much you take, but in how much you give, without keeping score or seeking credit. To build strong relationships, listen more than you speak and seek to understand before being understood. Empathy is the bridge to connection. Injustice anywhere affects relationships everywhere. You cannot love your neighbor while ignoring their suffering. Compassion must be the root of all connection. What you do to others, you do to yourself. Love grows through kindness, and hate poisons even the one who carries it. Sometimes, the greatest act of love is allowing someone space to grow, even if that means growing apart for a time. Relationships built on fear, control, or silence will never last. Only truth, trust, and mutual growth form bonds that stand the test of time. Respect is not a gift, it's a practice. It must be shown through action, maintained through patience, and earned through honesty. We are all shaped by those who stood by us when we felt most broken. Be that person for someone else. Love is not proven in words or gifts. It is proven in presence, in being there consistently, even when it's inconvenient or hard. You don't truly love someone until you love them enough to want them to become the best version of themselves, even if that means change. Never underestimate the power of gentle words in a heated moment. They can save relationships, restore trust, and heal wounds that shouting never could. True connection survives disagreement, outlasts struggle, and deepens with honesty. If you have that, fight to protect it. A good relationship teaches you about yourself, not just who you are, but who you are capable of, becoming through growth and understanding. A relationship is a shared journey. You both bring your past, your pain, and your hopes. Walk together with patience and purpose. Broken trust is hard to repair, but not impossible. Begin with honesty, followed by time and a daily effort to be better than yesterday. Real love doesn't demand perfection. It requires presence, effort, and a heart that's willing to grow and forgive through each chapter of the story. Wisdom is not the accumulation of facts, but the ability to understand which truths matter most and how to live by them daily. A wise man doesn't seek to win every debate. He seeks to understand the root of conflict and bring peace where others bring pride. Sometimes silence is not weakness. It is wisdom choosing peace over ego and purpose over pointless argument. Wisdom often grows in the soil of suffering. Those who have faced the darkness are often the ones who shine the brightest light. You cannot teach wisdom, only encourage its growth. It is learned through reflection, humility, and the courage to question your own beliefs. Knowledge is a tool, but wisdom is the guide. Without it, even intelligence can lead to destruction. The wise do not judge quickly, for they know every person carries a story we cannot see and pain we cannot measure. Wisdom is found in listening to those who speak softly, live humbly, and act with integrity, even when no one applauds them. Greatness without wisdom is dangerous. Power must always be paired with conscience, or it becomes a weapon instead of a force for good. Sometimes the smartest response is to wait, to observe, to learn and to act when the moment is right, not just when the impulse hits. Do not confuse cleverness with wisdom. The former can impress crowds. The latter builds nations and restores broken spirits. The wisest people are often those who ask the most questions, not to challenge, but to understand more deeply and act more wisely. You gain wisdom not just by living long, but by paying attention to the patterns of pain, joy, and healing throughout your life. When you can hold opposing ideas without losing your peace, you have begun to understand the complexity of truth. True wisdom is gentle. It listens before speaking, reflects before reacting, and seeks harmony more than control. Time does not make you wise, reflection does. Take time to think about what life has taught you, not just what you've gone through. The wise know when to lead, when to follow, and when to simply walk away. Each requires courage, but different kinds. The wisest people do not speak often, but when they do, their words carry weight, because they come from experience and deep thought. Wisdom does not come from winning, it comes from learning. And learning often begins in failure, humility, and quiet observation. You do not need to have all the answers. Wisdom lies in knowing which questions matter most and which voices are worth listening to. Failure is not the end of the road. It is often the detour that leads you to the path you were meant to take with greater strength. The most powerful people in history failed many times, but they never let it define them. They used failure as fuel to rise again. You don't truly appreciate success until you've experienced failure. The contrast is what shapes your gratitude, humility, and perseverance. The road to freedom is never smooth. You will fall, you will be tested, and you will be tempted to quit. Don't. Winners are not born. They are built through struggle, setbacks, and the refusal to stay down when everything says you should. You learn more from failure than from success. It humbles you, educates you, and prepares you for the day when the victory is finally yours. No great change in history came without failure. It is through our collective mistakes that we discover our greatest opportunities to grow. Each time you fall and rise again, your spirit becomes stronger, your focus becomes sharper, and your vision becomes clearer. Success without purpose is hollow. What matters most is what you do with your victory, who you lift, how you heal, and what legacy you leave. When you lose, reflect. When you win, stay humble. Both are teachers. One speaks through pain, the other through responsibility. Even in failure, you are not defeated unless you abandon your belief in what's right. That belief is your greatest weapon. True success is never selfish. It uplifts others, strengthens communities, and opens doors for those still walking the path you once struggled through. Failure is only final when you accept it as your identity. Until then, it's just part of the story, not the end. You can be wounded by failure, but don't let it scar your future. Heal, learn, and rise stronger than before. Many will remember your victories, but your character will be defined by how you handled your losses. Don't compare your journey to others. Some win early, others win late, but the ones who never give up always cross the finish line. The hardest battles often produce the most meaningful victories. What's won without struggle is rarely appreciated. Your strength is not in how often you succeed, but in how often you refuse to give up when the world expects you to. Failure reveals what you're made of. It strips away pride and leaves behind resilience, the kind that can rebuild anything. The measure of a man is not how high he climbs, but how many times he chooses to rise after falling. The most powerful prison is not built of walls, it is built in the mind. Free your thoughts, and the world around you begins to shift. Our thoughts shape our reality. If we constantly expect defeat, we will overlook the doors opening toward victory. You cannot control the thoughts that appear, but you can choose which ones to believe, follow, or release. A healthy mind does not come from ignoring pain, but from understanding it, processing it, and using it to grow into someone stronger. The human brain adapts. When fed hope, resilience grows. When fed fear, paralysis takes hold. Choose carefully what you feed your mind. Resilience is not born. It is trained through repetition, adversity, and self-awareness. Each mental struggle is a chance to grow stronger. You are not weak because you struggle mentally. You are strong because you're still here, still fighting, and still willing to heal. Much of what we believe was learned unconsciously. Question everything, even the thoughts you've repeated. So often they now feel like truth. Your emotions are signals, not commands. Feel them, but don't be ruled by them. Let them inform you, not define you. Peace of mind is not found in perfection. It's found in accepting imperfection with grace and continuing forward without shame. The brain remembers pain more vividly than joy. That's why healing requires deliberate effort, daily choices, and the courage to rewrite your inner story. Confidence is not arrogance. It is the quiet belief that you are capable of growth, healing, and handling life, no matter what comes. You can learn to control your reactions. When you master your inner world, the outer world no longer determines your peace. Mental strength is not about smiling through pain. It's about choosing to show up, real, vulnerable, and still willing to try again. Psychology teaches us that behavior is often protection, not rebellion. Look beneath the action to find the wound. Kindness is a form of intelligence. It requires empathy, self-regulation, and the willingness to see the world through someone else's eyes. You become what you repeatedly focus on. Choose thoughts that strengthen, not thoughts that shame. Choose words that build, not words that break. Loneliness is not solved by company alone, but by connection. Real, deep, and emotionally honest. That starts with being connected to yourself. Healing begins when you stop running from your past and begin listening to what it's been trying to teach you all along. If someone ignores you, Don't do these three mistakes. Avoid overreacting, begging for attention, or showing excessive sadness. Your mind is not your enemy. It's your greatest ally if you learn how to speak to it with compassion and discipline.